The video should never have existed. It wasn't staged, it wasn't filtered, and it definitely wasn't meant for the world to see. It was shaky, unfocused, filmed by someone hiding behind a half-open clinic door. But the moment the camera captured Yulong's trembling hands as he cradled a tiny infant wrapped in a soft white cloth, the world froze. Then it detonated. A single notification popped up first. "What is this?" Then another, then 10,000 until the clip swallowed the internet whole. And in the middle of the chaos, one detail no one could ignore. Yang Mei Mei stood beside him with eyes so swollen from crying they looked like they had been holding back storms for months. Her fingers hovered in the air as if she wanted to reach for the baby but was afraid to touch something too fragile for her grief. The clinic hallway around them flickered with dim fluorescent light, giving the entire scene an eerie, heartbreaking glow. For 7 seconds, the world witnessed something it was never meant to witness. 7 seconds that changed everything. No one knew where the video came from. No one even cared. What mattered was that it didn't look like a drama scene. It didn't look like acting. It looked painfully, unbearably real. The kind of real that forces you to rethink every rumor, every denial, every speculation that had ever followed Long and Yang Mei Mei like shadows chained to their names. And in those 7 seconds, the question that fans had whispered for months became a roar that shook the algorithm itself. Is that their child? Before the leak, the world thought they had it figured out. People thought the silence surrounding them these past few months was just PR strategy, a dramatic tactic to separate truth from gossip. But now, watching Long gently rock the baby as Yang Mei Mei wiped her face with the back of her shaking hand, all previous theories looked embarrassingly shallow. This wasn't a publicity move. This wasn't a setup. This was a moment too raw to be fabricated. And it was only the beginning. Because behind that viral clip lies a story so tangled, emotional, and fiercely protected that even their most dedicated fans never saw the full truth coming. For months, whispers surrounded them like a never-ending fog. Rumors that Yang Mei Mei collapsed on set, that Long disappeared without warning, that an ICU alarm had shaken their families, that a hidden clinic outside the city housed secrets more dangerous than scandals. Rumors that people debated but never confirmed. Till now. The truth began months earlier, long before the world started noticing the deep glances they exchanged in behind-the-scenes footage. Back then, their chemistry was the kind you couldn't rehearse. Directors noticed it. Crew members felt it. Fans celebrated it. But neither Long nor Yang Mei Mei said a word. They maintained the facade of professionalism, refusing interviews, dodging questions, smiling just enough to divert suspicion. What no one knew was that behind those silent smiles, a secret was growing, literally. Yang Mei Mei discovered she was pregnant quietly and alone. She told Long only when she couldn't hide it anymore, and the way he reacted became the first moment that bonded them with something stronger than scripts or stage lights. He didn't panic. He didn't run. He told her, "We will protect this child no matter what." And from that day they lived in constant fear. Not of the baby but of the world. They hid everything. Ultrasound visits done at night. Prenatal checkups under fake names. A maternity clinic that specialized in total secrecy. Their plan was simple. Keep the baby away from fame, hate, pressure, paparazzi lenses, and cruel online speculation. The baby deserved innocence, not interrogation. But fate doesn't care about plans. The baby arrived early. Far too early. It was during a break in filming. Yang Mei Mei collapsed without warning, and Long carried her out of the studio with terror in his eyes, the kind no actor could fake. Rain hammered against the van windows as he begged her to stay awake. The clinic lights were blinding. Doctors rushed her on a stretcher. Someone shouted about emergency surgery. And Long stood there feeling like the entire world was tearing open beneath his feet. Hours dragged by. His hands wouldn't stop shaking. His chest tightened every time he heard footsteps in the hallway. When the baby finally cried, it sounded like both the beginning and end of everything. But the battle wasn't over. The baby needed extra care, extra caution, extra protection. And that was when the first leak happened. A staff member spotted Yu Long carrying a soft bundle out of the clinic and snapped a photo. They sold it, of course. That's how rumors began. Adoption theories, surrogacy theories, secret marriage theories, even breakup theories. The internet didn't care about truth, cared about noise. They kept quiet because speaking the truth would put the newborn in danger. Haters exist. Obsessive fans exist. Anti-fans exist. And infants are the easiest targets. So they stayed hidden. They lied when necessary. They protected that child with everything inside them. But destiny decided to expose them anyway. 2 weeks ago, the baby developed a fever. Breathing became shallow. Doctors called it common for premature infants. But Yu Long wasn't willing to risk anything. They rushed the baby back to the clinic. And that was the moment someone filmed the 7-second video that shattered their silence forever. That's why Yang Mei Mei cried so hard in the clip. She wasn't crying because of fear of exposure. She was crying because she thought she might lose her child. And the world misunderstood it. They turned her heartbreak into headlines. Within hours, the internet spun out of control. YouTube cracked under the weight of reaction videos. TikTok rebuilt the clip into slow-motion edits. Comments flooded in faster than moderators could delete them. Hashtags went nuclear. Hashtag Yulong baby, hashtag Yang Mei Mei truth, hashtag their child reveal. Influencers scrambled to interpret the footage. Reaction channels milked it dry. Some people celebrated. Some felt betrayed. Some demanded answers. But everyone watched. Everyone replayed. Everyone waited. Then last night at 8:03 p.m. they broke their silence. The confession video wasn't stylized. It wasn't polished. It felt like the truth had entered the room and sat in front of the camera. Yang Mei Mei held the baby close, pressing her cheek to the tiny forehead, whispering, "He is the best thing that ever happened to us." Her voice cracked, not from fear but from relief. The kind of relief that comes from finally dropping a weight you were never meant to carry alone. Yu Long sat beside her looking exhausted yet calmer than he had looked in months. "We kept him a secret because we wanted him safe," he said. "Not hidden. Safe." He looked into the camera with steady eyes. "We're ready now. Whatever comes next, we face it together." Those words shifted everything. Fans who felt betrayed suddenly understood. Critics softened. Reaction videos turned emotional. Even people who never followed their content were moved. The world realized this wasn't a scandal. It was survival. Two people protecting their child from a world too obsessed with picking apart the lives of others. A world too harsh to leave an innocent baby unshielded. And now, the story has entered a new chapter. One no longer shaped by speculation, but by truth. Their child is real. Their bond is real. Their silence was love. Viral leak, the clip that should have destroyed them. The 7-second video kept replaying in Yu Long's mind long after the world had already seen it. The sound of electronic hospital beeps, the faint echo of hurried footsteps, Yang Mei Mei's choked breathing. Every detail lived inside him like an unfinished nightmare. And yet, nothing haunted him more than the way the baby's fingers curled instinctively around his thumb in that exact moment the camera captured them. A gesture so small, so innocent, but so revealing that millions of strangers instantly pieced together a truth he fought desperately to protect. But what the world didn't see, what the shaky clip didn't capture, was everything that happened just seconds before the recording started. He and Yang Mei Mei had burst through the clinic doors like two ghosts running from the world. The baby was burning up, cheeks flushed deep red, tiny chest rising and falling too fast. Yang Mei Mei's hair stuck to her face from crying, and her hands were trembling so violently she could barely hold the baby. Yu Long had to take him because she couldn't trust her own strength. Her knees nearly gave out when she begged the nurse, "Please help him. Please save my baby." Those words were the first time she ever said it out loud, to anyone outside the secret circle. My baby. And the universe, cruel and uninvited, decided to listen. Doctors rushed inside. Machines beeped. The clinic smelled of antiseptic and fear. Yu Long followed closely until a nurse gently blocked his way, telling him they needed space to work. He froze at the threshold, and for a moment everything inside him shattered. He wasn't allowed to protect the child now. Not with his hands, not with his presence. All he could do was wait. Young Mei Mei sank into the cold metal chair in the hallway, staring blankly at the wall like her soul had stepped outside her body. "What if?" she whispered, unable to finish the thought. Yulong knelt beside her, holding her shoulders, telling her again and again that nothing would happen, that their child would survive, that the world couldn't take him after everything they had endured. But even as he spoke, his voice cracked, not from doubt, but from the weight of how much he feared losing the one thing he never knew he wanted until he held him. And then it happened. The step, creak, the soft click of a camera. Someone hiding behind the door. Someone watching. Neither of them saw the phone pointed at them. Neither heard the faint sound of recording. They were too consumed with fear, too desperate to breathe. The world slipped their minds completely, until the nurse returned with the baby bundled in white, telling them he would be okay, telling them the fever was stabilizing. That was the moment Yulong took the baby into his arms, shoulders collapsing in relief, tears sliding silently down his cheeks. Young Mei Mei stood there watching him, her hands hovering as if she wanted to touch them both but didn't want to disturb the moment. Her breath hitched, her face wet, her lips trembling with unspoken prayers. They didn't notice the door shift open wider. They didn't notice the stranger slipping away. They didn't notice the world about to detonate. The 7-second clip uploaded online exactly 16 minutes later. By the time they strapped the baby into the car seat and drove home, unaware of the incoming tsunami, the clip had already hit 1 million views. YouTube had already re-uploaded it 100 times. Comment sections had already erupted into war zones. News outlets had already written draft headlines. And when Yulong's phone finally buzzed with a frantic message from his manager, "Do not go online. It's everywhere," he understood immediately. Young Mei Mei didn't. "Everywhere what?" she asked, clutching the baby closer. He didn't answer. He opened his phone. The clip autoplayed. He froze. Young Mei Mei saw the baby's face, saw their faces, plastered across the trending page. Her scream was silent at first. Shock swallowed the sound. But when her breath finally returned, it tore out of her chest like a wound reopening. She covered her mouth, shaking her head, crying, "No, no, no, no. They didn't. They didn't do this." Yulong held her, even though his own hands trembled. There was no hiding now. No silence that could fix it. Inside the car, the baby slept peacefully, unaware that his tiny existence had just split the internet in half. The hours that followed felt like watching a storm swallow everything they built. Their names trended in every language. Reaction videos uploaded faster than they could breathe. People live-streamed themselves crying, celebrating, accusing, theorizing. One clip showed an edit of the baby's hand grabbing Yulong's thumb. Another claimed Young Mei Mei's tears were a confession. Another accused them of lying to fans for months. Another said they were irresponsible, brave, selfish, loving. Every contradiction the world could throw. Hate poured in. Love poured in. The world poured in. And they had nowhere left to run. Back home, they sat on the floor beside the crib they had never filled before tonight. Young Mei Mei rocked back and forth, whispering, "How can strangers decide his fate? How can they see him before he even knows who he is?" Yulong took her hands and said the one truth they had both been avoiding. "We can't hide anymore. The world already knows. Now we choose how they know." And that was the moment something inside them shifted. Fear became resolve. Silence became strength. Secrets became truth. They prepared their announcement inside that small nursery with dim lights and soft blankets. No makeup. No lighting team. No script. Just them. And the child who unknowingly forced them into the light. When they pressed record, the world didn't get celebrities. It didn't get actors. It didn't get polished perfection. It got two parents holding their child, trembling but determined. Yulong's voice was steady when he said, "This is our son." Yang Mei Mei's tear-filled smile carried more honesty than any interview ever had. And when the clip ended, the internet changed. People who had doubted them apologized. People who had hated them softened. People who had loved them screamed in joy. But above all, the world finally understood the truth behind those 7 seconds. The leaked video didn't expose them. It didn't break them. It didn't shame them. It freed them. And for the first time, the weight lifted from their shoulders. Their child wasn't a secret anymore. He was their miracle. And now he belonged, not to the world, but to the light they chose, not the darkness that forced itself in. This was never the end. This was the moment their real story finally began.